Hey everyone, it's Brenda with Stampin' Up here with another video for you. Today we're going to be making a card using the new Under the Moon, which is a new stamp set in the new annual catalog from Stampin' Up. And I created this card for a birthday card for a friend, and I decided to make another one. And so we're going to make even another one today. So this is the card that I came up with. I think it turned out really pretty. It's a little bit different than the first one I made. The first one I used ribbon behind the sentiment instead of the glimmer paper, which is what we're going to be using today. Anyway, this is the card that we're going to be creative. So let's just jump in and get started. So what we're going to need today is our card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. This is Azure Afternoon. We have another piece of Azure Afternoon, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/4. This is for the top panel here. As you can see, this is two different pieces because we're going to run this through an embossing folder. Okay. We're going to need another piece of Azure Afternoon. It just can be a scrap. This is a little bigger than this, but it needs to be at least 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. This was supposed to say 4 1/4, not 4 1/2. It just needs to be big enough for our circle around our scene here. And then we need a piece of white, 4 by 5 1/4 for the inside. We need 2 more pieces of white, one for the scene. It can be anything bigger than this circle here. And I think that is about 4 inches, no, 3.5. So as long as it's bigger than 3.5 by 3.5, it will work. Mine is 4 1/4 by 4 3/4. I like to make it a little bigger so I can kind of pick and choose where I want to cut that circle out, because there might be part of it that didn't turn out as nicely around the edges, and make sure that it's centered and all that. And then another piece of basic white for the outer circle here. And that needs to be at least 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 as well. Okay. And then for the sentiment, we need another piece of basic white, which is a 3/4 of an inch wide strip, and it just needs to go across the 4 1/8, but it can be bigger than that because you're going to cut it down anyway. And then we need a piece of the white glimmer paper, and this is 1 inch by 4 1/4. It can be 4 1/8, just depending on when you want to trim it. If you want to trim it before or after you adhere it. So that is what we need to get started. We're also going to need, of course, the Under the Moon stamp set. We're also using the Beach Day stamp set. We're using the Deckled circle dies. We're using the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. And we are also using some regular, these are not Stampin' Up, but these regular circle dies. And we're going to need this one right here, which is about 3 1/4 circle. Okay, we're going to use that. Wait a minute, that's not the one I meant to get. Well, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, boy. I think I grabbed the wrong one. 4 inch. That's what I thought it was, a 4 inch, but I grabbed the wrong one. So we're going to use the 4 inch circle to cut the white. Okay. All right. Now we will get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this scene here. Okay. So we need our piece here for the scene. I'll put everything else aside for now. All right, we're also going to need a piece of scrap paper and some blending brushes. And I used Balmy Blue, Azure Afternoon, Daffodil Delight, just a tiny, tiny little bit of pumpkin pie, and Melon Mambo. And then we also need our Momento Tuxedo Black. Okay. And our blending brushes. So we're also going to use some of these Post-it notes. These are 3 by 5, I believe. Yeah, they're about 3 by 5 inches. And we are going to use about 4 of these because the first 2 we're going to do is we're going to run these across our paper. Actually, we only need 1 here across to make our sky and our water. Okay, this doesn't look quite straight. Hopefully that's right. Okay. And then, okay, so 1 across. If you have it wider, you'll need 2 of them. That's what I did the last time. So then take 2 of these, and I forgot to mention we need a 1-inch circle punch, okay? On the sticky end here, you're going to punch a circle out of a double layer, okay? And that's going to be the masking for our sun, okay? And I'm not sure why that didn't cut quite right. I'm just going to trim that off just a little bit here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this sun, as you can see, it's just coming just a little bit over this paper here. So I'm just going to put it about here. And I'm going to try to put it in the middle. All right. And adhere that down. I think I'm going to move it over just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bit of a hue around here with my Daffodil Delight. If you have ink in your blending brushes, you may not need to add any ink. It just depends on how much ink you have. So I'm going to try doing this without adding any more ink. This does not stay the best, but it's a little bit. This is just the first layer, and you're going to put more yellow underneath anyway, so it's not too bad. Not a big deal. So then I'm going to do a little bit of orange, the pumpkin pie around, just to get a little more color going here. Kind of go out a little bit maybe. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the Melon Mambo, and that is going to go across like that. Okay. Now I'm going to take my Azure Afternoon, and the Azure Afternoon, I may need to add some more ink. I don't know. I'm just going to try here and see what happens. I want a little bit more blue than what I may have on the blending brush. We can always add more blue later because after you cut the circle, I did add more ink because I wanted it darker and I wanted the edge around, around the edge after it was cut. I'm just going to add a little bit more to this blending brush. And don't be afraid to get it into the pink a little bit. That might make it a little purple. And it will be pretty. And remember, this is going to be cut in a circle anyway, so part of this is going to be cut off. So it doesn't need to be perfect. So now I look like my sun is kind of lopsided there. So I think I'm going to add a little bit more yellow to this side over here. Okay. And maybe a little more orange. Okay. Now I'm going to take this off, and it doesn't matter that I got a little yellow there because we're going to put more yellow there anyway. So we do need our Daffodil Delight ink pad, and I'm going to just make this a lot darker. You just have to be kind of careful not to get it in the blue. I don't know why I can't hang on to these things. All right. All right. just like that. All right. Don't look all that smooth, but that's okay. I guess it'll be good enough. All right, now I'm going to take this off and I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put it back on and cover up my coloring here. Okay. Now I'm going to take, you can use a new one too if this has gotten too bent up, if you don't like that. You can just use a new one if you'd like. Doesn't matter. And you know what? Maybe I'll do that since I already ripped this one off anyway. I might as well use it, right? It'll probably just get thrown out if I don't. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to take our stamp. All right, I'm going to do this water stamp. Let me show you that case again. I'm going to use this stamp right here, the water, okay? So I'm going to use Balmy Blue. And now this is upside down, remember, so I'm going to turn it right side up because we want the bigger part of the water up at the top. All right, so I'm going to do that. I need my little foam mat underneath since it's photopolymer. All right, I'm going to get as close to this as I can. Stamp that. And then I'm going to turn it upside down and I'm going to stamp it again. And I'm just going to try to line that right up against the first stamping, just like that. And it doesn't matter if there's a little bit of a gap, it's okay. Okay. Now, what I did is I took a little bit of the Melon Mambo and I went across just to make that look a little bit of a reflection. You can do a little bit of the yellow, any way you want to do it. Every time you do it, it's going to turn out a little bit different each time. This one's definitely a little different than my original one, but that's okay. That's the beauty of handmade, is making it just a little bit different. And then I'm going to fill the rest of this in with my Balmy Blue. And like I said, you can go right over the top of that pink, especially, because that will make it a little more purpley. You don't have to worry about getting too low to the ground here, to the bottom rather. You're going to be cutting that with this circle. So let's just add a little more yellow. Hopefully it's not going to be green. All right, let's see. The other thing we need to do is just put more of a definitive line right there. So I'm going to take my Balmy Blue a little bit and just kind of go across that spot right there in hopes of getting that a little darker. All right, there we go. So this doesn't look quite as reflective as this one did. But we can add more color when we get it done and cut out. So now I'm going to take my die here. All right, I think this is the smaller one right here. Okay, this is what we're going to cut it out with. So this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's the middle one. So it's the 7th biggest and the 8th. I mean, this one here, the one bigger than that, is going to be for your Azure Afternoon. Okay. And so let me just cut this out. I'm going to put this, center it as best as I can. That's about right. I'm just going to run this through my machine. Okay, So there we have our circle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in with my blending brushes, and I'm going to just go back over these areas to put a little more color and get that color around the edge. Okay, so put a little more Azure Afternoon. You can put a little bit more of the Melon Mambo on the edge if you'd like, and then more Balmy blue around these edges. Get those darkened up a little bit. There we go. Okay. Okay, then I'm going to bring my mat back in because we need to stamp our little dolphin. So I'm going to put him with the Momento black. Now, I don't like the way this stamps. You probably can't see it on the on camera. Let's see if you can see it on here. See, this doesn't show either. It looks like it stamps very solid, but the stamp actually has some texture to it. Let me see if I can clean it. I want to see if this is going to show up on camera for you. You can't really see it. But it just doesn't quite stamp solid. Let me show you on the scrap paper. See, it leaves like a texture. So what I did is I stamped it, but then I took a marker and I went over the top of it just a little bit to fill that in. See, that doesn't really quite, I don't know if this is going to focus. It doesn't quite fill in, and you can still see the yellow. So what I did is I thought black was too dark, so I took my Smoky Slate Stampin' Right, and I just went over it just a little bit. And I hope I don't get my head in the way because I have to be able to see this. Just to kind of fill this black in. There we go. That's probably good enough. Okay, so doesn't that look pretty? I really like it. Okay, so all we need to do then is we need to put that on here. And then we had cut our circle out here, and we're going to put that on. Okay, I'm going to do that. All right, then the next pieces we need, we are going to take our Azure Afternoon, the 4 1/8 by 4 3/8, and run that through the embossing folder. Okay, and I've already got that done. So that gives you a nice texture here. Okay, so that is going to go on the base. Okay, and that is just so we don't have to run this base through. I've mentioned this in other videos. Some demonstrators will do that and just run this whole thing through. But when I did that, and you have to run it through this way, I had my embossing folder crack on me when I tried to do that. You're really supposed to put the fold in first. And so when I've run mine in sideways, it cracks. So that's why I don't do that. I don't recommend it. Let's see. Okay, so I just realized that this has a cut in it. I don't know why. So I'm going to go ahead and run this through, even though I said I already had it done. You know me, I'm a perfectionist. I don't know. I sliced it somehow. See that little slice right there. So let me do this over. So I like to line mine up with this line so that I have it straight. Although this embossing folder doesn't really matter, I don't think. If you need instructions on how to get these 3D embossing folders through your machine, I do have a video for that. I do not have the Stampin' Up Stampin' Cut machine. I have a big kick. So you have to take it in stride if you watch the video. If you don't have a big kick, you may have to adjust just a little bit. It may not be quite right, but at least it give you an idea of how to get it through your machine. So this is going to go on. And of course this gets put on here, layered on there, okay? But before we can put all this together, we definitely want our sentiment. Okay, so let's stamp that. So what I did is I just tried to do it right in the middle. It doesn't matter if it's exactly in the middle, but you can adjust it. That's why I made this a little bit bigger, so you can kind of make sure that you adhere it so that it is centered. That's just easier. So, see, it's not quite centered. So this will allow me to play with it just a little bit and move it about like that. Okay. And I did use tear and tape for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and I'm just going to put, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to snip this. First I'm going to put a line just in case I move it. I pick that up. I'm just going to snip these off. And then I know that I'm going to put the tear and tape where I need it. Okay. And I'm going to use my big 1/2 inch tear and tape because I like that the best. I'm just going to put a strip down the middle. Whoops. Boy, I'm just got that stuck on there. Okay. Now, I'll put this right in the middle of this. Like I said, my first one, I actually used the here it is, glittered origami ribbon. I think it might be an online exclusive. I'm not really even sure if it's still available. I should mention too that some online exclusives are retired and we have not gotten notification of that. So if you find that something is not available or you can't even find it, if you're looking for an online exclusive and it does not come up at all, that means it's gone. They're working on trying to figure out how to keep all that straight. I don't think they had that all worked out when they started them. And so they haven't really kept us updated on what has run out and what they're not renewing. And I just found out that the basic 3D embossing folders were gone and sold out. And that was real fun, wasn't it? I just refilled this bottle. That's why it did that. So anyway, if you're looking for an online exclusive and it is not showing up at all, that is probably why. If you're ever in question, looking for something, and you have questions, just reach out to me. I don't mind that at all. I can find out for you. Okay. Doesn't matter whether you're my customer or not. I can look it up. Or if you have your own Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, they can look it up as well. So, anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because the online exclusives, that's why they call it online exclusives, because they can just cancel it whenever they want. It's not in a catalog. It's online only. So it's really just depending on how the sales go. And if the sales are continuing to be good, then they keep it around. And then once it kind of fizzles out, they just discontinue it. Okay, so we've got this all glued together. And now we're going to put this on. Just center that like that. And we're going to put our sentiment on here like this. Okay. We want to do that before we put this on our base, just in case we're going to need to trim this down a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to also use, again, I'm going to use my tear and tape on the embossed part. I always do that. I just think it adheres better and I don't have to worry about flattening anything out. That's just me. You can use whatever adhesive you'd like. Anything that you see me do, you don't have to do it exactly like I do. Just, you know, make it your own. Do it the way you want to do it. You know, any of us demonstrators, we just do like, you know, we use the products we like to use, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same as what we do. Okay, let's just put this on. Boy, that one don't want to come off. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to put this right up here. Just a little bit farther up. Just don't push down. As long as you're not pushing down, you can kind of move it around to get it where you want it. There we go. All right. And then we're going to put this on here. I'm going to put that right up like that. I think it's still not quite centered. I thought I had it centered, but it's not. That's okay. It's handmade. That's just the way handmade is. It's not perfect. If you're anything like me, you want it to be perfect, and then sometimes it's not. I used to really beat myself up about that. But I don't anymore. I've learned to relax. You know what? It doesn't matter. Most people that get our cards are not going to notice that it's not perfect anyway. And I got this a little bit over the edge. Let me see if I can get a different piece. Scissors here. Trim that off. There we go. Okay. Let's just, we want to put that right in the middle between the edge and the circle, centered, or as even as you can get it anyway. All right, and then I'm going to trim this edge off here. There we go. And then we're just going to put this on the front, and I'm going to use my tear and tape again. When I had my ink out, I should have stamped the sentiment on the inside, and I didn't. There we go. All right, there's our card. All right. And now all we need to do is our inside sentiment. And I put the wishing you a beautiful day, and I did use the Azure Afternoon again. And I don't think I mentioned that was Azure Afternoon that I used there. And then just stamp that in there like so. And add glue. Hopefully it won't go all over the place this time. I think I've mentioned in other videos, but I haven't in a while. This is not the Tombow glue. This is Scotch quick dry glue, tacky glue. I like this glue the best. And when I bought the Tombow glue, which is this, that Stampin' Up! Sells, it is super, super sticky and it gets on my fingers and I can't stand it. So I refill this bottle. I love the bottle. So I refill it with my Scotch tacky glue. So that is why it exploded on me, because I just refilled it this morning. And it must have gotten a little bit too full. So when I went to squeeze it, it just kind of flew out at me. There we go. So there is our card. I hope you like that. And I think it turned out really super pretty. And I really like this new set. So if you like scenes, making scenes, especially water scenes, I like this dolphin. I will tell you, I don't like this dolphin here. I did that one first, and I don't like the fact that they made, they left a gap between. So when you stamp it, it just really looks kind of stupid. I don't like the way it looks at all. There would not be a gap between there, and it should have been one solid image. I tried to put a line in between with a marker and it just didn't look right. So that's why I'm just sticking with this one. I don't like that image at all. It didn't stamp very well. I haven't really played with the rest of these, so I haven't done anything with that. So eventually I will get to using the other stamps. But anyway, for now, this is what I did. So I hope you like that. And that is it for today. Have a great day and God bless. Bye-bye.